Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Gaming community. It is your host with the most, Avery LR32 here, bringing you guys the first place YCS San Mateo deck profile. I predicted that Dragons would win the event, which they did. Oh, forgot two cards. So it was only 38. I was like, what the heck am I missing? Debris. Yes, two Debris. I'm just kidding, it's debris. Um, but yeah, so Dragons won the event. I predicted that they would win. Guys, they have a big draw engine. They go through their deck like it's no one's business. It's a very good deck. Um, but I'm going to go through the deck list and then I'm going to make my comments afterwards. So we have 3 Blaster, 3 Redox, 3 Tempest, 3 Tidal, a Fog King, 2 Corseska, 2 Card Trooper, 3 Max C, 2 Swift Scarecrow, and 2 Debris. Spells, we got 3 Card of Constance, 3 Sacred Sword, and 3 Dragon's Ravine. Traps, Return from the Different Dimension, Mirror Force, Torrential, 2 Phoenix Wing, 2 Castle Dragon Souls. Side deck, we have the Snipe Hunter, Electric Virus, 2 MST, 2 XYZ Encore, 2 Trap Stun, maxed out on the skill drains, 2 Debunk, and 2 Mystical Ref Panel. This is the card that makes that like Cold Wave card that like shuts you down for a turn like really good, even though it's like isn't actually good. Extra deck, Star Eater, Crimson Blader, Angel of Zera. Scrap Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Thought Ruler, Archfiend, Stardust, a Black Rose, Ancient Fairy, Orient Dragon, Armory Arm, Mermail Biscayos, 2 Dracosac, and a Big Eye. So, comments right off the bat. He ran 3 Dragon's Ravine instead of 2. I mean, when you're running the Ancient Fairy Dragon, you know, especially if you're going against Dragunity and they play their Dragon Ravine first, and then you just go into an Ancient Fairy Dragon, gain 1,000 life, and then play your Dragon Ravine. I mean, you're plussing out the wazoo just with that play. But I mean, I do see why he ran the 3 Dragon Ravine. You know, you can just play it, you know, use it, either add or send something. You're more than likely going to send something unless you have the Card of Constance in your hand. If you have Ancient Fairy on board, or if you're able to make it, you can, you know, make it if you wish to. Pop your own Ravine, gain 1,000, and then get your second Ravine and play it again. Even at the regional this past weekend, at the time of making this video, I saw a lot of people using Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and it really doesn't surprise me because, I mean, you could pitch any of these cards to the graveyard and it really won't affect you. You can, you know, pitch, you know, an E-Dragon to the grave and send a card back to the top of their deck. And it's also good against Star Eater because they say entering battle phase, and then you go, okay, upon entering your battle phase, Phoenix Wing, pitch, put your Star Eater back into the extra deck. And then Castle Dragon Souls. In case you guys don't know what this does, WK Dad used one of these in his build. Once per turn, you can banish a Dragon-type monster from your graveyard, and then you can target a monster you control. It gains 700 attack until the end phase, even after this card leaves the field or the monster becomes unaffected by card effects. When this face-up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Dragon-type monsters and special summon that target. You can only control one Castle Dragon Souls. So let's say you have a Blaster banish and you have, let's say, a Tidal on board, and they play a Scrap Dragon. Well, that's not really a good example. They play a Crimson Blader, and they try to swing over your Tidal, and then you just go Castle Dragon Souls to pump it up. So it's kind of like they have their own Horn of the Phantom Beast, so to speak. It was interesting to see him running cards that kind of slow down the opponent. Mirror Force and Torrential were ones that stuck out to me because you typically don't see that. You'll usually see something like Raigeki Break, but Phoenix Wing does the exact same thing. Except it just puts it on the top of their deck, so they lose a draw. So I'm definitely going to be running this over Raigeki Break in my build. And 2 Swift Scarecrow, I actually thought about using 2 Swift Scarecrow in my build before the regional. But, you know, you would think that, you know, having 2 in your deck, you know, it would slow you down a little bit. But not really, because you can discard it off of Redox's second ability to special summon something from your graveyard. And on top of that, I mean, it protects you. And if you're only side decking 1, I mean, I had it luckily in my hand whenever I needed it at the regional. But I mean, there were times where, like, I remember one time I played a Card Trooper to mill 3, and I milled Dark Hole, Scarecrow, and Scapegoat, and that was the only Scarecrow I was siding. I was like, damn, now I don't have anything to protect myself. So a second Scarecrow, I mean, it also helps with Trooper plays. I mean, if you end up milling a Scarecrow, then you can just say, oh, well, you know, I got the second one, and people aren't going to be expecting the second one in Dragon Rollers. They're going to be like, oh, okay, he probably only uses 1 Scarecrow, so I don't have to worry about the other one. They put everything on the board, and then they swing, and then they end up losing their advantage because they already dropped everything on board, and then next turn you can just go and just proceed to game them. Debris, of course, I'm not surprised about. I saw a lot of people at the beginning of this format testing Fog King. Fog King is definitely a very interesting um, tech card. Unfortunately, now it's like a $20 to $30 card. But in case you don't know what it does, you can normal summon it with one tribute or without a tribute, and then the attack of him is equal to the combined original attack of the monster's tribute to tribute summon him, and then neither player can tribute monsters. So not only does it shut down monarchs in case you are going against monarchs, um, but also you could have, like, say you could special summon out 2 blasters to your side of the field, sack off both blasters, and play Fog Kings. Like, you could play a blaster from your Grave of Red Ox's effect, then banish 2 dragons, play another blaster, sack them both off. That's 2,800 plus 2,800 into one big ass Fog King that does not let your opponent tribute summon monsters. So really, really good play, especially against stuff like with big beaters, like even in the mirror match especially. It's really, really good. Um, so I definitely see why he ran Fog King. Definitely a good tech choice. Moving on to the side, he maxed out on the skill drains and 2 debunks, which I'm not surprised about because debunk is a good card. I mean, hell, it's like 10 to 15 now. Back when it was like 5, or before this it was like 5. But maxing out on the skill drains was definitely a good meta call because, I mean, he's maxing out on the max C's with no Veilers, so the only thing he has to rely on for hand traps is max C. Personally, I would have taken out the max C and a skill drain, and I would have thrown the max C into the side and at least thrown in a Veiler. That's just me. Just depends on your playstyle, but he was preparing for the meta and he won. Angel Azera, in case you don't know what this does, it gains 100 attack for each of your opponent's banished cards, and then during the standby phase of the next turn after this card is banished, you can special summon this banished card, and you can only use the effect once per turn. So not only is it a 2,800 level 8 beat stick, okay, yeah, just making sure it was level 8. If in the mirror match, when you and your opponent are like grinding the game out, and you just drop Angel Azera to like get over something like, say, a blaster, it's gonna have a lot of attack points. Those banished cards really pile up. Abyss Gaios, I mean, if you have 2 titles on board, it is possible. Definitely a good choice. I actually thought about running it. I actually kind of wish I ran it over Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger in my build. Gaia Dragon the Thunder Charger is another choice. When I'm building this on my own, I'm obviously going to take out the Orient Dragon for an Iron Chain Dragon, just because I don't have an Orient Dragon. And Iron Chain, it's the same thing, just with 200 extra attack points. And I don't have 2 Draco Sacks, so if you guys don't have 2 Draco Sacks, like I just said, if you don't have an Orient Dragon, take it out for, say, another level 6, something like Iron Chain Dragon. If you don't have 2 Draco Sacks, then you can take out a Draco Sack and put in a Gaia Dragon. That way you have Abyss Gaios, that you don't have to commit with a Draco Sack or a Big Eye, so you have access to an Abyss Gaios, possibly, depending on your board. 1 Draco Sack, a Gaia Dragon to get over defensive stuff in case they're going defensive, and then your 1 Big Eye. Other than that, the extra deck is pretty much staple. Interesting tech to run Thought Ruler. It's just another good level 8. All of his synchros here, besides Orient Dragon, Armory Arm, Ancient Fairy, and Black Rose, are all level 8. And on top of that, he did not run Formula, which was really interesting. He didn't really seem to commit with Formula, and on top of that, he's not running Dandelion, so I do see why he didn't really want to run Formula. I mean, for starters, he can't make it unless he were to summon the Scarecrow, which you would never do, of course, and then somehow get the Corsask on the board at the same time. So I guess you could say he's running flat-out Dragon Rulers, but at the same time, I ran a build close to this at my regional, which you'll see the deck profile of that either today or tomorrow, where I teched in 1 Dandelion, and people were calling it Dragon Ruler plans all because of 1 Dandelion. No, it's just Dragon Ruler. It was the first place Toronto build, basically. Other than that, nothing really sticks out to me. The side deck is pretty standard from what we saw at Toronto. The only things that were really different was, the things that were the same was that he had 2 MSTs and 2 XYZ Encores in here. Instead of Royal Decree, he decided to use Trap Stun. Personally, I'd rather use Royal Decree. I mean, it shuts you down too. So I do see why he didn't run it. It all depends on your playstyle. But I do see why, because of his trap lineup, that he did not want to use Royal Decree. Mystical Ref Panel. This is good against a lot of things that targets 1 player. I'm trying to think of spell cards that target players, but I'm trying to remember. Someone tried to use it against me with my Dragon Rulers. In the mirror match, that's what it's good against. In the mirror match, and then other cards that let you draw. you know, they go Card of Constance or Sacred Sword, you have to banish as a cost, but then your opponent gets to draw too. So it's really, really, really good. Um, the Snipe Hunter, ditching for days. You don't really care about losing your hand. The one Electric Virus, good against the Machine and Gadget matchup or even the Mirror match. He really wanted to prepare for the Mirror match, it looked like. But yeah, other than that, I think I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Congratulations to Dragon Rulers winning, and I will see you guys in my next video. Be sure to rate, comment, and most importantly, subscribe if you have not already.